Hey there, welcome back to Return to Yehovah. We're now in the time of Passover. It's now April of 2023, and I was thinking about and reading different passages related to the Passover over the last week, and I came across something I hadn't really noticed before. Some of you might know this, but I just thought I'd share it and pass it on. So, we know Yeshua and his disciples had their Last Supper together. I prefer to call it now the Last Passover, or his Last Passover. And I'm working on putting together a video, be a little bit longer than this thing, talking a little bit more about that. But the main things that seem to be documented in the Gospels at his last Passover, well, we know he washed his disciples' feet. He talked about how someone was going to betray him. And then he also had bread and wine with them and told them this is the new covenant. He says the bread represents my body and the wine represents my blood, that's poured out for many, or that kind of thing. So we pretty much all know those things. But then as I read a little bit further, I realized after the meal, most likely, I don't think it was during the meal, but after all these other things I just mentioned, Yeshua went on and talked or shared with his, small group of disciples a lot of his most important words that we have documented. And in the book of John, starting in chapter 14, he goes through 14, 15, 16, and 17. These are all just jam-packed, excuse me, with virtually no interruptions, different things he said. And I could try to quote from them. It would be hard to do, but I want you guys to think about that. Maybe if you're wondering what can I read or look at while I'm, celebrating Passover or during the days of unleavened bread, well, you can read those chapters in John because they have information that John recorded that's not in the other Gospels. Amazing stuff. He talked about if you believe in God, believe in also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. We've all heard that and quoted it many times. He talks about the Comforter is going to be coming. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. He talks about, if you love me, keep my commandments. Things like that. The idea that he is the true vine and his Father is the vine dresser. Those kind of things. He talks about the world hating him and it will also hate his followers. Talks about the work of the Holy Spirit and how Yeshua has overcome the world. And then in chapter 17, he actually prays for his belief, for him, a little bit about himself, and then his disciples, and then for all believers. Okay, and I'm not going to try to read those now, but all of these things were still in the room where they were having their Passover meal. So I'm pretty sure, we don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure these were documented as things he said after having done the bread and wine, but really it doesn't matter. It was definitely at the same place, still during the night of the Passover. And the reason I can say that is when chapter 17 ends, you go into the first verse of chapter 18, and it says, when Jesus had spoken these words, the ones from 14 through 17, he went out with his disciples over the brook Kidron, where there was a garden, which he and his disciples entered. And you can go on from there, and that's when Judas comes with the soldiers to arrest him. But anyhow, maybe not a huge revelation to some, but I thought that was kind of cool. So now we have a whole lot of information about what was said by Yeshua at the Passover that he had with his disciples the night he was the night he was betrayed, and the night before he was going to be our Passover lamb. So anyhow, hopefully that'll be something worth looking at, and you can gain a lot of amazing insights. And context is important, but to know that that's when and where he was sharing these things, to me, was pretty amazing. So anyhow, Yehovah bless you and keep you, and enjoy Passover and unleavened bread. Shalom.